good people? B. Parrish, Brian Parrish here. Second episode of Free Speech. Yeah. I have my great friend, Jules, Miss Jules with No Rules, aka the most infamous person in Chicago right now.
Crying.
She just had the biggest class of the year, probably the last 10 years just now. Julie is a really great friend of mine that I met when I first moved to Chicago. Literally the first class that I took here, she was in, and we didn't talk initially, but then when I finally moved here, the first you were the second class I took in Chicago. I think Julian's was the first.
Yeah.
And met you and Malcolm, and then it was kind of just a word ever since.
Yeah.
Incredibly prominent choreographer and dancer in the scene, battle dancer, beautiful mover, communicator, instructor. She inspires a lot. She does a lot. She thinks a lot. She believes a lot. And she's about to get up out of here and go do a lot. So just wanted to have her here on the episode to just talk about her journey so people can get to know her a little bit more. And yeah, just kind of get into some good discussion and conversation.
Ooh.
Episode 2, Free Speech. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're not camera people, really, so we're nervous kind of, but that's okay. Might cut that out. We don't know. So yeah, the point of Free Speech, I might just say this every time, is to check in with the people that we spend most of the time around in the dance community, whether that be freestyle or choreo, studio scene, because while we do spend a lot of time with each other and we get inspired by our peers a lot, we end up thinking that we know a great deal about them when in fact we've only seen them move. We actually haven't heard them speak or what contributes to the movement or why a certain thing was born and why this person had certain goals to go a certain place and whichever. And yeah, this is here for that, to maybe talk about some early influences as to why you're on the journey that you are now, and just give people a bit more background as to who you are and why you are. Yeah. So I think the first thing I kind of wanted to just get into, or you can talk as long as you want about it, is what the early Miss Julie days were like, and Kid Julie. When did dance become the priority or the wave? Was it influenced by your parents?
I think my biggest influencers with dance will probably be my family. Our household growing up, I feel like I talked about this all the time. I talk about this all the time because it means just so much to me. But my dad was a house DJ in Chicago.
Yeah.
So every morning, I feel like on the weekend, we just woke up hearing that, and it was just we all knew that it was time to clean, but I also was just so happy waking up on Saturday because there was just music playing in the house, and it just felt warm. I was just and I was just home with my family, and I don't know, my dad has always told me, he's it all started let me backtrack. So that was my first influence, but I started dancing at 3 years old. And then, because my mom was a dancer too.
Right.
Yeah. So
what kind?
She always wanted to be a dancer, but it wasn't until she got to college was when she was I really enjoy doing this.
Right.
I actually want to see what happened. So then she took a couple classes at Columbia, and then that's when she kind of changed her mind. She was okay, I want to go into medical, and that was that. So then when I came along, I was always running around. I was that kid that just would never sit still.
Right.
And I was quiet, don't get me wrong. I was very quiet at certain points in time. But when I just remember always putting on shows for my family. because like my grandmother would always like bring over like these little dresses.
Yeah.
So it'd be like me and my sister like putting on a show. I remember like there was like this little piano that we had, and like it had like built-in music already.
Yep.
And so we would just like hit a button, and whatever came on, like that was what we were performing to in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, dang, like maybe this is what I want to do. So like once I started taking classes and like I was that studio kid that was like going to classes like at like 4 days out of the week.
What age was this?
This was like, this was really young. I think I was about like 6 years old when that started becoming like heavily a thing. And then once I hit like 10, 11, it kind of died down because I was like switching to schools, didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I think I took like a year off of dance. And then my mom was like, you're not yourself. Like she was telling me this like at like, what grade are we in? Like 7th grade, so I was like 12, 13. Yeah. She was just like, yeah, you're not yourself. Like you haven't been yourself like this whole time. And I'm like, okay. She's like, do you want to start dancing again? And I was just like we could see how it goes, like see what happens. And so then she put me back into dance, and yeah, from there it was just like it went back to that scheduled like routine. I was going to dance like 4 days out of the week, and then like on weekends I would go to competitions like for like, that would be like for a 4-month span in the beginning of the year. And that was like my childhood growing up. It was just like, it was either dance, going to school, and going home.
At the time I imagine it was that's and when you're a kid, you're not really thinking about like what different things you could like implement into your routine to kind of diversify things. Like if it's like the same thing for me is I would go to school, and then I might have like I took Taekwondo when I was a kid. I would have Taekwondo on like 3 days of the week, and then have like, you know, friend time on this specific days of the week. And that was kind of just my routine. I never really thought about it past what my mom was telling me that I should do. She was like, you know, we got to go to practice, get in the car, go. And I'm just kind of like, boom. Whereas now as an adult, I like my routine to be a bit more like to fluctuate a bit more, just because if it starts feeling too mundane, I'm gonna start getting real antsy, and just needing like a big switch. And I feel like that just comes from like, you know, your brain just gets more conscious and more observant as time goes on, so you can't just kind of go on autopilot like you are when you're a kid. So
luckily it didn't last that long though.
Right.
Yeah, because like once I got into high school, that's when I found puzzle. So
right.
Yeah. So
you've been in the scene forever. I just realized you have been here forever. I forgot.
I'm like a baby of this community. So a lot of like the OGs like in this community have seen me since I was a kid. Right. And so having to see like basically 4 now, like coming into this 5th generation of like the new like wave of dancers, it's just so crazy to see how everything has just like shifted. Like even like the studios, like there was an old studio when I first started coming out here and doing puzzle. That studio's not even there anymore. It got like knocked down.
What was it, Conti?
No, not Lou Conti. It was Bozen. And it was a martial arts studio. So it wasn't even like an actual dance studio. They just had like a part in their dojo where there was just mirrors and you just took up that space. And we just took up that space. And the crazy part was that this is when like the community, at least like the people on the northern part of Chicago, like this is where all the teams, like that's when like teams were really big, and they all rehearsed there. If it wasn't there, it was at Lucanti. Right. And so it was just so wild to see like all of it just kind of go by. And so then like once I got into puzzle, like it that's when like my whole schedule changed.
Mm-hmm.
Everything changed.
What was y'all's practice scheduling like?
Okay, so
and actually before, is there, so right now there's like Peacemakers is like the prerequisite before puzzle, like for like minors, right now?
yes, so
Was that a thing before?
it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. So when I had gotten on there was actually no, there wasn't Peacemakers. So when I had first auditioned, they didn't have an age gap like cap. So anyone that auditioned and was like, okay, like, yo, we want you, like, you were on the team. So I remember it was only 3 of us that were like really young, and one of them was like a really good friend of mine that I actually danced with at my old studio.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to like how that rehearsal schedule was like, me and her would have rehearsal for our studio right after school, and then we would have to leave like 30 minutes into like before our rehearsal ended with our studio to then drive up here to then go to rehearsal for puzzle.
Oh man.
And then not to mention we were still students going to high school and like doing all that, so like card right there, if we weren't resting we were doing homework. If like even at puzzle rehearsal, if we had a show coming up or if we had anything that we were competing for, we were at that studio from like 8:30 to like, I remember one time it was like until 3:00 in the morning.
Right, yeah.
And then we still had, like, me and her had to still drive back to the suburbs to then go to school.
Which is not for, I mean, I feel like everybody watching this probably is from Chicago or in the like surrounding areas, so you know what the trek to the city is like from suburbs. But for anybody that's not from Chicago, it's not a short walk. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially in traffic hour, like.
Oh my god. It's like you're sitting there for like you think that you're only going to be on the road for an hour. If like if there's traffic, it's like 2.
Yeah. Literally.
Like
on Google Maps or like Apple Maps, it'd just be straight red on the highway because it knows it's back to back traffic. Like,
yeah. I'm just happy that they have like that little time in the corner where you can see what time it's gonna be now. Yeah. But yeah, so then that was my schedule like for like the remaining years of high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was so surprised that I even passed high school.
Right.
I was so surprised because I just remember I think now talking to my mom about it, she was like, you can't make dance your priority. You can't make it your priority.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, what is she talking about? Like, of course I want to make dance my priority. Like, right. I didn't, like, at that time I didn't have any responsibilities really. Like, I had my car, I had to maintain my car. I had a job, so like I had money, like my own money coming in, but like yeah, it was just like I wanted to pursue dance so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like I need to make this my priority. And then not to mention start putting in like relationships in there.
Exactly.
And like everything else, like all the great stuff that you get to do in like high school and like trying to.
You still had a pretty like involved high school experience even with a schedule like that.
Yeah, I still did. It wasn't the best high school experience, I would say. Like, I just feel like it was very wishy-washy because I wasn't really there. Like, when I was in school, like, I had my friends in school, but did we ever really hang outside of school? Like, sometimes, but it wasn't as frequent as I was, like, hanging out with my dance friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the friends that I consider, like, those are my homies,
your
like,
homies,
my
right.
back in the day. Like, and so yeah, like the experience was great, but like I didn't really have like my people there to like make it worth like something
right.
like worthwhile. But like what it was, like I am privileged to have something like that and have like that experience even be like to even have.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for it. Like I'm grateful that I was able to go to prom both years and experience all of that. So like as much as like I say like I do like I don't really enjoy high school, like I did at certain points, but
right. Yeah, it's definitely like something that you have to look back on in like hindsight, because during high school like emotions are kind of just like super swirling, like you just don't know what the fuck's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look back and I think what I do miss about that time, even as you were kind of just describing it, is just the commitment to the drive. Like, I wasn't really I feel like my purpose in whatever I felt like my purpose was at the time was so solid that it just kind of kept me going. I wasn't thinking about like, man, I'm tired. Okay, I can't really, I don't really have time to go to this practice, or I don't have time to do this. It's like, okay, I got to go to practice, but I got to make sure I do this homework on the way to practice, and then when I don't do practice, I got to do this choreo. Like, I got to make sure that I do da. And now, this might be like post quarantine world where now, like, I go do a little bit of work, make sure I put my time in, then I sit down, I be like, damn, I don't want to do shit else today. Like, knowing damn well you got, class tonight, or you got to go, work on something, go session or something like that. So it's just an interesting, like change. Like, life didn't get less busy, but somehow my body has gotten, like, less accustomed to wanting to just be on go mode like that.
Yeah. Because it's also not healthy.
Yeah.
It's not healthy to always be on go mode. And I will say this to everybody out there, because I've been doing it since I was too young. But it's not healthy to go on go mode like that all the time. And I think now I do suffer some consequences, like having gone on go mode for so long. And yeah, I feel like now I have to kind of pick up those pieces. And it's more so like my health. It's like how my mental health is doing too. And like, it's just like, those are actually like sitting down.
Why would that happen? Crazy. Don't call me during the pod.
It's like, Poppy lurk.
Let me put this on Do Not Disturb really quick, low key. If I knew how to do that. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
What is it?
Going on go mode, you need rest time.
Yes, you absolutely need that rest time. And like how you said, like, it's like post quarantine. Like, I feel like a lot of people like realize like it's not healthy to always do that. You have to have time to just like sit down and like give yourself the time to process everything, and like really just listen to yourself and how to go along with it. And like, I love incorporating that and speaking about that with dance, because I just feel like I can create more, I can be present more when I teach, I can the creativity just flows so much more naturally, because I'm able to clear my mind and actually like let it just process the things that it needs to, so that I can feel good, and so that the energy that I'm giving out into everywhere and all the spaces that I go to, regardless if it's dance or not, that it's genuine.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like fake it because like I just don't feel well. And I feel like I was doing that for quite some time until like it caught up to me, and it was just like, you just need to sit down.
Yeah. Like,
you absolutely just sit down. Like, I like, there was points in times where I was like, dance is just too much. And like, it got to the point where I just started hating dance. I hated dance. And I'm just like, but that's because I loved it so much. And that's what my main priority was. So then taking dance and now listening to my mother and putting it somewhere else and not making it my priority, and realizing like I have to put myself first, and then like whatever else follows after. It's just like, I
think that it's that's kind of how I'd be working in my brain as well, like in a priority list or categorizing. And at once upon a time, dance was number one on my list. Like, I was like, I need to. Well, I think low key, I feel like love or like like having a girlfriend was always like number one, like low key. Like, I never wanted to like
the sliver. You
know what I'm saying? I had to like
it's like dance, that little relationship.
Yeah. My whole life, I feel like I've been super like romantic of a person. So I always felt like I wanted a partner to just kind of go through a journey with.
Yeah.
So if I didn't, that was always the thing that I was searching for. And then once I got that, I was like, okay, I can focus on everything. I have. But then as soon as if the the relationship came crumbling. Everything else in that list came crumbling. Mm-hmm. So there was somewhere in there that I had to be like, okay, maybe I need to. Now I'm with the love of my life right now, so I don't actually have to worry about that part. But I do have to like tinker my internal workings into understanding that you need to upkeep all the different like circles instead of just like thinking one is going to be able to hold everything. And then I guess dance would now be like 4 or 5 or something like that on the list, because I'm like, well, I need my body to dance, like, so that means I need to take care of my body. I need to be prioritizing sleep, food, relationships, and all of those things will then like transfer into how I'm the ability I can use whenever it goes into dancing, whether it be taking class or sessioning or choreo, whatever. I just started going to the gym, like, and this weekend the Red Bull event has saved me, it's been saving me like recently, because I used to be one after the first round I was gassed. You know what I'm saying? Like, for like prelim round, I'd do my prelim and it was all good, and then I get off and I'm like gasping. Yes.
I know it's the.
And now I'd be on that elliptical machine like 15-20 minutes, get some weight training in, and I still get tired, but now I'm able to like recover a little bit faster and kind of just go just a tad bit longer. So yeah, we just, as dancers, as people in general, just got to start. It's not that, and honestly, paying attention to the other thing doesn't mean that you're deprioritizing dance. It's just dance is a complex thing on its own that requires a whole bunch of different components. If you're not paying attention to these components as if they are just an individual like want for themselves, then it doesn't really lay the foundation for you to be like a successful dancer.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you just gotta fucking take care of yourself.
Yeah, I'm like, because dancers, like, they even said it themselves, like, dancers are the most athletic, like, the most athletic athlete, and I'm just like, and thinking about it, I'm just like, yeah, we are, and it's just like, if we're not keeping up with our body, like, this is our moneymaker, if you really think about it, like, if you want to put it on a business aspect, or perspective, but it's just like, if we're not taking care of ourselves and our body, it's just like, you can't let that pour over into dance, because then if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of dance, you're not taking care of your people, you're not taking care of everything else around you. It just has this domino effect,
right?
And like, I just like, and it's just crazy that I had to find that out just a little bit later on in life, but I'm also very grateful that I was able to figure that out, because now it's just like, now making the moves and like seeing how well things can just prosper and grow when you just take the time to reel it back in just a little bit and just like focus on one thing, and that just might be yourself.
Yeah.
Then to go back out and put out even more, or not even put out even more, but just whatever it is that you do put out has more of an effect, positively and in more ways than you probably know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's very important at least to me. And that's why I was just like, I do want to like, that's why I also push in my classes. I'm just like, you're here, yes, but this is for you, not for me. Like, you're here because like you want to be here. And you're going to do this for yourself. So I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for you to look like me. It's just like, I'm giving you choreo, yes, we're learning something, yes, but we're also growing as individuals. We're growing in a space. It's just like, it's not always going, it doesn't, the main topic doesn't have to be dance always, because dance, like how you said, it's just so much more than dance.
You can just come into it with what you need, or what you need it for. Come in, like, you can come into class or go into anything that involves dance with anything. Like, just use the ability to move as a vessel to communicate what it is that you're feeling that day, what it is that you've been going through, and this kind of like bridges into another good topic is, at least on the I mean, I guess it's both ways. Like, it's kind of just like that in the social, like, I hate saying like the social media era, but it we are in that. Where things just have become very surface level to a point to where people are going into class like just for the video or something like that. Going to class just for the video, and they know that, you know, it doesn't really matter what they look like in the choreo, it doesn't matter what the choreo is, or if it's a good song, and they get a good quality video that is going to go up on Instagram, and then that's actually what they went into class for, not actually to dance. And where that's fine, that there's nothing wrong with that. It just leaves out all of what, like, being able to move your body is for, as in a release. Like, now you're going into class using your body, and you're just building up more anxiety and more tension, and wondering, okay, is how I'm moving right now gonna translate when I post this on Instagram? And it's like, you're already thinking 20
steps ahead.
Actually be here in the moment, and try to just figure out, what does the movement even mean at that point? Like, what is it? Do you actually want to be here? Like, if you didn't care about Instagram, if it was just about being here, there were no phones, no cameras, no anything at any point. No TikTok, no anything. Like, would you still be here in this class today? And I think that was part of my transition more into freestyle, was that I was just showing up to class and I was answering my question all too much, in that, no, I didn't actually want to be here. And we get caught up in the autopilot stuff, so you just kind of just happen to do it, and you feel like it's contributing to a further purpose later on, so you just don't even really question it. But then I'm like, damn, I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't know if I'm feeling fulfilled. I haven't been feeling fulfilled in this for a while. Is it really contributing to my purpose, if my purpose now is to be as with myself as I can, or as at peace as I can, or if I'm moving genuinely through myself? If I had to be honest with myself, I'd be like, no, I need to actually take a step back from this and find out how to repurpose my love for movement in the way that I want to.
Absolutely. And what's crazy is that there are classes now that are just designed just for a video. Yeah. It's just designed that way. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm like, if that is the way that you want to run your class, and I'm not saying that is the main priority of your class, but it's like, okay, the videos. It's all about videos and content now. And y'all see my page, I don't be posting a lot on my page for real that much anymore, or being spurts, but it's I think I had to take a step back from even teaching, because it was that whole shift. I feel like once we went into quarantine, that's when everything just went on the internet. Everything just went on the internet. Dancing was all on the internet. It became more popular, and now it's just when we got out of it, or I don't even think we even got out of quarantine.
We're kind of still pseudo in there. Yeah. People still coughing on it. People can't touch it. Don't touch me, okay?
I was like, firm handshake. But yeah, it was just I having that time in quarantine, and then even after, I had to take a step back, because I'm just what is going on? Why do I feel all of this is so disingenuine? And I'm don't get me wrong, I had other stuff going on in my own personal life, but it was classes just didn't seem like they wanted to really be there. And I got that from certain individuals, but a majority of them was just oh, where are the videos? Where are the class videos? Were you recording? And I'm like, no, I wasn't. So then I had to take a step back, and now going into my classes, I reiterate to them, I'm just this is a safe space. We are learning to dance. I don't run my classes we're going to record at the end. Sometimes I don't even do groups in my classes, because I'm just this is more so about the movement, and you releasing something, or speaking about something, or whatever it is it means to you through movement. Yeah. And I'll tell them, I'm if you want to record, you can, but you're going to do it on your own phone. You can do that. Right. But it's just sometimes now as a teacher, because I love teaching. I love teaching dance. I love being able to guide a room to help them really center themselves with movement, and helping them find a way to just release it in some way, or speak it some way somehow. And that's my main goal. when I'm teaching.
Right.
It's never more so about the video. And when I do get the video, I'm like, okay, great, that's wonderful. Like, I'm grateful, I appreciate it. But is that my main purpose? No. Mm-hmm. No. I love staying present in my classes because that's what drives me to do more. It drives me to continue to create more, to go to other cities and like see what other communities are about, so that I can still continue to grow, not only as a teacher and myself, but I also do want to bring that back here because Chicago will always be my home.
Right.
And like, even though I'll be going on to LA or going wherever else after that, it's like I still do plan on coming back here and still giving what I got back to this community.
Right.
Because I know that I've been able to help it in whatever way that may have been.
Great ways.
To just like help people like just grow within themselves, but through dance. And I just love seeing people feel good.
Yeah.
And like seeing that, because like I've seen people get anxious when they dance. I've seen people get down on themselves when they dance. Like I've literally seen a dancer like storm out of a classroom because like they just could not get the piece. And I'm just like, dang, like you're like it's like that inner battle within yourself. But it's just like, I never want to make one of my students ever feel like they can't get something from a class. Mm-hmm. You know,
just seeing the bright side of something. Like it may be challenging physically, but are you being soothed emotionally? Are you being soothed mentally? Like mm-hmm. sometimes yeah, I've been in some fucking hard ass classes that dog the shit out of me. But I kind of just tried to find, I mean, and I've had times where I wanted to walk out too, but I think in the time it's just about learning about why you're doing it, like trying to find a grounding there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just might be the song. I just like this song. I know the choreo is hard, but I like listening to the song over and over, so I'm going to keep mm-hmm. trying to, because I just want to keep listening to the song. Or you have most of the piece, and now you're like, okay, there's just this one part that's just tripping me up. Like I'm glad, I'm feeling good, I'm doing great. Like I got 80%. Like that's just 20% left. I keep going. Or sometimes you see your friend like going crazy, and you're like, okay, now I need to step it up because I'm not no bum bitch. Like,
it's like I can hold the fuck up too.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just about like grounding, mm-hmm. and that's kind of in dance and in life. Like, just as soon as it gets hard, trying to ground back into why you're doing it, mm-hmm. and that's the test of life, if anything, is trying to figure out like am I going to be able to remotivate myself? Because none of us really know what the fuck is going on.
No, not at all.
And yet we move with such conviction and such faith. So there's got to be something there that we're holding on to keep on managing. And it becomes a skill then to be able to call upon that whenever adversity gets fucking hard, whether it be in a closed dance environment or whether you're trying to go get a certain type of job or whatever you're really trying to do. Mm-hmm. Being able to refocus is a top tier skill. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. And like, I'll even like in my classes, like, I'll take a second, like, because like I realize like classes, like trying to have someone's focus for an hour or an hour and a half is literally impossible.
It's hard, yeah.
I feel like it's so impossible, and if you're able to do it, kudos to you, because it's just so hard, especially with like how, as a society, we just work with our phones, with calls, with everything. It's just so at a fast pace.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I can't expect anybody to have that attention span of being in there and focusing on an hour. So it's like, I'll have a time where I'll split my class in half, or like at the half point mark, either I'll tell them to go get water, or like, we'll take a second to all breathe collectively as a class. Mm-hmm. To just kind of like, just regroup.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's a lot of information that you're trying to like put on into your brain, then onto your body, and then like on top of that you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what's my steez? Like, what do I want to go and, like, do for this piece? And, like, just whatever it is that you got to do. And it's like, you're working so many different parts of your brain. And then on top of that, you're trying to listen to what I'm trying to tell you to hit, to keep in mind, and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's just like having those times to just like regroup everybody and like, hey, like you're good. Like this is the half-point mark in class. Let's like just take a second to breathe,
and we're like get through the rest.
And we'll get through the rest. Yeah. Exactly. It's just like sometimes I'd be tripping myself up, even myself in other classes, because I'm just like, damn, that first half was really kicked my ass. But sometimes like this whole second part of the piece, I'm just like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Right. And then just putting them both together, you're just like, oh, this actually makes sense. Yeah, it does. Yeah. But it's just like really giving that break time and knowing that like, and that's the other thing, like I had to take a step back and really like reform out how I did my classes. And then going back and like researching even more, it's just like realizing like people can't just stay focused that much. And like, and then going back even further, it's just like, okay, well, how can I explain this better? And like, and that's also me doing the work, going to classes, seeing how other people are teaching, seeing what other students need, and really seeing how this community learns. Yeah. And it's like, I know not everyone in this community learns the same way. Exactly. But there is like a foundation from seeing all the classes and seeing like how people learn in this community. And it's just like finding that underlining of what that is and just having that, pulling from that and just like putting that into my own classes as well so that I can benefit the people that are coming and learning from me. Right. But that's just me. That's like what I take that extra step because like that's I care. You care. I care about my students and I care about their growth. I don't care if they're gonna surpass me. That's the whole purpose. I'm like, I didn't become a teacher just because I wanted to be somebody. I became a teacher because I love dance and I love teaching it and I want to see other people thrive in it too. And like everybody can dance. It's just how much time you put into it, how much work you're willing to put into it. And I'm like, and I will be here every step of the way if you're choosing me to help you with that. But you also have to give me the energy as well that you're motivated to do this. So it's just like I will always give back to my students and do the utmost that I can for them because I want to see them grow and be successful. Thanks. And I'm like, because this community has so much to fucking offer. It does. It's so much to offer. And I just want to see everyone that I've been able to come in contact with or even train or just dance next to, just see them grow in like whatever it is that they want to do with dance. Whether that be an artist, a choreographer, an industry dancer, even like professional like going and freestyling, like it's just like whatever it is that you want to do, like if you feel it in your soul that you can do this, then do it. Right. And just go and do it.
How did you what's like not necessarily end goal, but what is like the goal that you're like going for right now? Like what is it like, because you've been teaching here for quite a while. And teaching has been teaching and performing has been a great part of like your time here. Are you looking to like broaden that to a bigger stage? Are you wanting to dance more like industry with artists? Are you wanting to teach on a wide scale professionally? Like where is your head as far as like where you're taking your talents?
I think I honestly want to be like, my main idol right now is Debbie Reynolds, but it's just like she was able to do everything. Like I see that woman, I'm just like, you did everything. Like you were able to just be that person in every entertainment industry, whether that was like acting, writing, producing, choreographing, talent searching. Like she did it all. She did everything. And like that is who I look up to, and hopefully I can be of that type of nature when I do grow up. But as of right now, I do want to be able to, where I do see myself as being a choreographer that does go internationally at some point. I feel like I still do have to train a little bit more for myself, and which is why I'm also going out to LA. But as well, I do want to be able to go and do like the whole tour and like not even just to say that I did it, but just to also understand that part of dance. Because that is a different world in itself, and that does require a lot of dedication.
It does.
And a lot of your time and energy, and it's just like learning to understand that. And like I have been in those situations before, but this is like on a very big scale, and learning that part of the industry where I can then take a step back again, or not even take a step back, but just also just whatever I learned from there and use that to go and like maybe even choreograph for a tour that I can be an assistant choreographer for, or just go and like teach classes like across the world. And I still want to do that while I'm still touring or whatever, but I don't have any limitations on where dance is taking me right now. It's like wherever I do find a fit and I feel the most comfortable, where I can genuinely give my artistry and have it be reciprocated and understood and appreciated, that is where I will go. Yeah.
I think I feel like a lot of people resonate with that same pathway. That's even I feel like it's still part of my own pathway, where early on when I was doing choreo, it's also noted that it's so weird that we say choreo and freestyle instead of just saying dance, because I know like overseas it's kind of like one bundle of thing.
Yeah.
And just for the I'm gonna keep doing it just for the sake of like understanding, because people like understand it that way here, where there are people who are definitely dedicated choreo heads, and there's people who are definitely like dedicated street style dancers or freestylers, and then there's like the merge. But in America, I feel like it's kind of few and far between. However, I feel like a common thing on the choreo end or the studio world is the traveling the world and teaching on your own tour, on your own name type shit, like because that's what kind of brought me into it, like back in 2012, 2013, when I started in that world. Brian Puspos, Ian Eastwood, Van Martin, all those people, along with Caitlin Watson was traveling world, Kenzo, Shay, all of them were I'm just seeing them like going on a world tour, gonna be in Berlin this day and in California this day and da and they're going solely to teach their choreography, their way of dance, their teachings to people all over the world that don't even, maybe not even understand what they're saying, but they just
literally
resonate with their movement so much that they're literally like, we will pay you to fly across the world to come teach dance here. Please do that. And that seems like it has to be like the most lucrative way for a dancer to like to monetize. Like if that's what it's about, for like if you're looking to monetize your dance as well, it doesn't always have to be for business aspect, but obviously like most people want to be making like,
money.
They want to be good off their dance. Like monetarily. Commonly it's thought about that the tour life or the artist life is the way, or like the most lucrative and the most money making way, and it actually just ends up not being, because as soon as you're done with that tour, you're done. They're done giving you a check, and you got to go back out auditioning.
No residuals,
nothing, nothing. And that shit is crazy to me, because
and that literally goes back to the point of like how dancers are not paid enough.
Yeah, bro. Like and at first like. And I there's a bunch of things that I feel like contribute to that. I'm not really even sure what the main thing is. Really, actually, I can theorize that I feel like dancers all over the world probably just don't get paid enough, because whereas it should be getting paid as much as like basketball or football players are, because we use our body just as much, if not even more, and are enjoyed by the masses just as much. It's that there are people that watch football and basketball and that are literally like, oh, I can't do that. The guys that can, or the women that can do this are so amazing. We just need to give them all the money. And dance is something that like most people don't, like common people don't understand at that. So they see you dancing and they think that it's something that they could probably just get up and do right there, when they don't actually understand the hours that it takes to be as clean as me. It doesn't take the hours that it takes to choreograph a piece like this, the hours that it takes to tinker your battle acumen. Like it, nobody's really thinking about what it actually takes to be free within yourself and your movement. But they are also not getting up and trying it. So I think that there's this thing where the people that we're depending on the money from just don't have a genuine understanding of what actually goes into being a dancer. Not a person who dances, but a dancer. Yeah.
And I think what I like that's happening now that is being seen a lot more is that the rehearsal footage is being put out,
and it's being it's going viral.
And I'm just like, I'm happy that's happening, because now people get to see the time and the amount of blood, sweat, and tears really that go into these rehearsals. And like, or even just like the mental and prep work to go and like I know that there are like a couple of freestylers that get flown into these battles because like they're requested to be in these battles, but it's just like these freestylers are still every day like doing like freestyling and making sure like whatever style that they're going to these battles are crisp and ready to go. They're on their P's and Q's, and I'm like, yeah, like they're going to battle, but it's just like the rounds that y'all have to go through, and then on top of that, if the judges can't even make up a decision, you have to go again.
Like, and that it's just crazy because you like even and I'm still relatively new to like the battle world. Like I was just talking to somebody that I'm seriously about it 2 years in. And there's people who have been battling decades, you know what I'm saying, like a really long time. And whenever you first start on the journey, which I came from choreo, so I'd seen, and I've been around the battle, I had been around like the battle scene, like adjacently, but not really directly in it, or I didn't have any goals in it until just recently. But before, I'm like, okay, again, like I'm seeing somebody dance and have a good round. And I'm like, oh, that can't be like that hard. Like all you gotta do is just go up there and just do your just dance. And then you get up there and the song's not what you like.
Nope.
The people are staring at you. You.
Sometimes the MC's saying some stuff on the mic.
The MC's saying some crazy things.
Oh my God.
Some of y'all be doing that. Anyway. Basically, what I'm saying is there are so many stressors that go into being able to perform in a situation like that. And if the person comes out looking clean and crisp, that should actually tell you how long they take or how much they do this, and how much they actually care about doing this, that they take time out of their day when it's not happening to prepare for it. And you don't really understand the gravity until you are dead in the middle of the actual situation. But to get to that level of understanding, people are going to have, because most people are scared to perform in front of people. Most people are scared to show themselves. Most people are scared to say what they want to say at that point. So there's just like this weird divide where we don't know, like people are not going to understand us, dancers in general, because they're just simply not willing to. And we have to kind of keep creating different ways to make it palatable for people who, to show people that it's not scary, that it is scary, but that you can get through it.
Yes.
And yeah, there's just this wall that we just need to like dissipate so that people can just see the true essence for what it is, and pay us accordingly. God damn it.
For real. Because I thought Dario's over here breaking his nose and
bro. And the crazy thing about the Super Bowl is like I'm seeing people's posts that they're talking about. Yeah, I got flown in 5 days ago, and we've just been working straight on the like I got brought in 5 days because I was brought in as an extra or something like that, and I had to learn all of the set list in those 5 days, and like work and dance on the platforms and make sure the staging is right. Make sure I get Rihanna her mic. Like, I'm like, that's a lot. Y'all, people who don't dance are not doing that every day. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yo, I just did a show literally this past weekend, and it was like people from all over the Midwest. Like, there was people from Wisconsin, there was people from Michigan. Someone got flown. Chloe got flown out from or she came in from Texas.
Oh, Chloe, yeah.
So so and then there was I think another one.
What show was this?
This was for one of my friends' shows that she had put together.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Oh, Jalen,
mm-hmm.
right? She had her showcase. Right.
So, mind you, this was thought of like 3 months in advance. No, it was even before that. I forgot how long in advance this was, but I remember when she had first brought it to my attention. And she's like, I honestly don't know how I'm going to do this. But she's like, but I really want to do this. And I was like, okay, do it. Like, if this is what you want to do, create your own show, do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I told her, I was like, I don't know if I'll be here, but I'll let you know. Found out that I had my own set. And I was like, all right. Mind you, with all of this show going on, I'm still trying to prep to move.
To leave. Yeah.
And we didn't have a rehearsal with the full cast until that morning of the show.
Yeah.
And she gave us videos to kind of learn off of, but with everything going on in my own life, and I was just like, all right, I gotta get there. I tried learning it from the video, but I'm just like, it's just one of those things where it's just like you can try your best to learn from it, but it's just like we gotta be in person to see.
Yeah.
So then we got there, 3-hour rehearsal, and I learned probably about 4 pieces that day, 4 to 5 pieces that day. And
what?
and
oh no.
yeah, I learned 4 to 5 pieces that day. Not to mention, I still had to choreograph the ending of my piece because someone had dropped out of my set like the night before. So then I had to go and like revamp my whole entire piece. I actually switched the entire piece. I had a whole different thing. I had cut it, the music, I sent it already. Person dropped. I was like, dang. I was like, okay, I have to think a little bit. I was like, what am I about to do? So then, and it's stuff like that happens. Like that stuff just happens.
And that's a plethora of skills in one. It's literally not just dance. It's problem solving. It's team management. It's leadership skills. Like it's a complex like bubble of different qualities that end up surrounding dance and making it good. Which I feel like choreography is a good like metaphor for that, like physical metaphor for that in some way, where like freestyle and street dancers are more, or even like improv and studio settings is just raw dance. It's not. There is technique to it, and there is like foundation to it that you can apply on top of that. But it is not required to be a dancer. And somebody could actually just go out and freestyle and battle just exactly how they wanted to move with no rubric, and it still be enjoyable. Whereas choreo, it looks so good because it's like somebody taking like this giant thing, this giant orb of energy that is essence, and then placing cleanliness around it, placing angles around it, placing, all these things that end up making it this nice polished thing. And the person that can do it right, you're still going to get the same impact of that rawness, but it's going to look clean as if they've been doing it for a year. And to say that it is like a metaphor for just what dancers are in the world, like it's just not one job. You know what I'm saying?
No. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. And like literally that, like, and I wasn't the only one that had to do that. There was multiple people in this cast that had to do that.
Right.
And like there were some that came in the night before, so they were learning stuff the night before. But there were also some of us that came in that morning, that drove in from different cities, got there that morning, and we went straight into rehearsal. And then we were just like going piece by piece of the whole showcase. And like there was another room, so like if you weren't in the main room for the rehearsal, you were in the other room practicing and getting your stuff done. And then everything was just happening so fast, and like I don't think like that's another thing. Like these days when like you have a performance or you have a battle or whatever, it's just like they go by so quickly.
Yes.
And it's just like you have to stay on your toes the entire day.
Time, yep.
And it's just like just so that you know like what is going on, so you don't miss a beat. Because then if you do, it's like that domino effect of like
shit's just falling down. Yes,
like,
bro.
I'm just like, and there have been times where that has happened, but it's like, you know, like you kind of have to roll with whatever it is that's gonna happen that day, and or during that rehearsal or during the show. It's just like, even for the show, I completely like. There was a point in my own piece where I was just like, what did I just do? Like I messed up somewhere somehow, and I'm just like, and I'm realizing I'm like taking a step back and processing like even the whole weekend. I'm just like, there was just so much that went into this show, and like there was a lot of things that like that we just had to get done. But not to say that it wasn't enjoyable, but it's just a lot of work.
Yes.
It just takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the point of like you have to make sure that you're good and like taking care of yourself.
Exactly.
And like getting put into those situations. But it's just like, yeah, people do need to understand that like there's just a lot of other qualities that go into this. And it's not as just so simple as you see it on the internet.
Right.
And it's just very more complex. But I think that's what also divides who is actually like a dancer and who is just like doing this as like a hobby.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just like, and you can obviously differentiate that between the two, but it's like there's a very clear understanding of it.
Or thought to be anyway, like I feel like you can use those two things as a marker for both sides of the spectrum. Whereas, like you could say the left side is hobby, right side is dancer, and I use that as as humans, we're not just one thing, right? Mm-hmm. We end up like I think society just makes us associate with labels so that people can just understand you faster. Mm-hmm. So they won't have to ask you so many questions. So they're like, what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I dance. But that doesn't, like, I also talk, I also read, I also laugh, I also watch movies. You know, I have actually a lot of other things that contribute to myself as a person than just dancing. Mm-hmm. But I understand what it is that you're trying to ask me by asking me that. Yeah. But on a reflective tip, by saying I am a dancer, that means that everything I do, eat, sleep, breathe, watch, and listen to should be about like going back to how it can contribute to me as a dancer. Mm-hmm. And if we're all being honest, I don't know that all of us do that. Like there are like sometimes.
I'll be honest right now, I don't do that.
I truly don't.
I
complain all the time because. Like I be wanting to get better so bad. Like I want to be the best dancer. I want to be this, and then I look at my friends around who I feel like are amazing artists and amazing dancers, and I'd be like, okay, well, what is it that they're doing that I could start doing that would contribute to an increase in my skill or my ability? And then I watched them for a little while, realized they dance in 2-3 hours every day. They go, after that they watching dance videos for the next few hours. After that they go in a session again. After that they go, and I'm like, I don't want to dance that much. Like I do. I want this to be my job. I want this to be my life in a way, but not so much that it's the only thing that I'm intaking. Because if dance is the only thing that I'm intaking, then I won't actually have anything to show or like to work through.
It's like where are you pulling your inspiration from?
Yeah. So I it's really commendable to the people that just do it because that's what they actually feel. And I don't believe that I'm more so saying that people are just different. And I'm not the one that's going to be up dancing every single day. But there are those that do. But I wonder if we talk to them, which we will on this podcast eventually, I wonder what things they feel like they are, like because they spend so much time dancing or they spend so much time like curating their art in that way, what it is that they feel like they're lacking, or what they some other parts or other circles of their life that they wish they could have more time for. Because I think it's just interesting to listen to people or hear people say, yeah, like, I wish I could do this over here, but all my time's in this thing, so da 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 da. And the reality is that you have time for everything. You could just take this time for this day, put it in this bucket, put a little bit more time into this, and you're like, get some fulfillment. But you're super dedicated to that thing over there that you just don't even find it to be a possibility that you can take the time away from it to go maybe like grow a new passion.
And maybe those passions can coexist one day.
Exactly.
And that's what creates the whole bigger, like, then at that point I feel like it doesn't even become about dance anymore. It's just like, I'm like, now it becomes like the artist. Like, who is this artist? And I think that's like, then that's where the jump of like, oh, I'm a dancer becomes the artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I ask one more question before we wrap it up. It's been about an hour now. But this is a fire conversation too. Thank you.
Of course.
I love this. Who are some people that you feel like laid a foundation for you in dance to thrive in the way that you do today, and whether they're in the community and outside, like whoever you can name, and also. We'll start there.
Okay. So I feel like, at least here in Chicago, the people that really laid the foundation for me were my old studio teachers, because they were actually people in the community from Chicago that were teaching me. So I felt like I had that foot in the door of like what the community was here for, like, since even before I even got here. And like we would perform at WAD and stuff, so like I got to see like what it was about, and so like seeing how the community was, and their names was Chris Cerati, who still teaches today. He has his own team, his own company now, and he's still teaching. Katrina Monte, she was also here in the community. She's out in LA now. And then Carly Hansen, she's also in LA now. But she's actually, so those two actually, so Katrina and Chris taught me the first things I ever knew really about hip hop. And they did such an amazing job learning like the grooves and everything of hip hop. But then once I just started becoming more curious about it. And then once Carly had came in and started teaching our group, she introduced, like, I always knew house, but I didn't know like the proper foundation for it. And so when she had came in, she laid that foundation of like house and whacking for all of us, really. And I'm like, that's when I was just like, oh my God. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to incorporate this in everything. And so like I would talk to her about like, well, how is it? Like, what is it like in the house Chicago scene? Because, like, obviously I was too young. I didn't know. And they're like, well, you got to go to the club.
Right.
Like, you got to go. Like, I was like, you got to experience that for yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh. I was like, it's one of those things. And I'm like, even when I asked my dad was just, it's the same thing. He was like, it's a club thing.
It's literally what everybody will tell you. It's the number one thing you're not going to know unless you get in that club. Yeah.
Yep. And so I was just like, okay. And so then when I was old enough, like, I went to my first one, and I was just like, oh, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, it's not even more so, like, at least to me, like, it was more so about, like, the moves. It was more so about the energy exchange.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then once I finally started to actually get, like, the quote-unquote, like, actual fundamentals of house, it's just like everything from there kind of just like sprouted. But those were my three first ones. And then once I got into the community, and who kind of like really took me and like pushed me to grow, was Chris Rhodes and then John Keys. And then as well as Puzzle, so Matt Pumanes. And so those three really, really kind of molded me into like this dancer, then grew and took all of the information that they gave me, and after that is when I kind of like just kind of spreaded my wings a little bit. But I still look up to them, like even though like they're not really like, I don't really train with them as much anymore, like I still look up to those individuals because I'm just like, I would not be able to actually do anything of what I'm doing without their involvement in my life or in my journey, and everything that they've taught me, whether that was in dance or outside of dance, really too. And so those were like the main 6 people that really just laid the foundation for me here. And as far as like other inspirations, like outside of dance, like I was able to talk to Marley a couple times. I was like, Marley Hightower, goated. I saw her once, one video. It was just one video, and I was just like, it blew me away because like her foundation, but then like the flowiness of her movement, I'm just like
dancing.
What? I'm
literally
like,
dancing.
Wait.
Yeah.
And then also Caitlin Watson, like
always, yeah.
Like those two for me really just like sparked something in my brain of like not only being a woman,
facts,
but like
it's Women's History Month.
I was like, but we should always celebrate women.
Always.
And our wonderful men too as well.
Mostly women. You can keep it up. Men don't need that much celebration right now.
Oh. But yeah, those two really just their own artistry. I think it was the artistry that came from them that just drove me to like really hone in on my own. Right. And to kind of just like bloom from like what the foundation is that I had here. And I was really blessed and honored to even take their classes. Like I was able to take Marley's classes like a handful of times, and then during quarantine I was able to take Caitlin's class online, but I also was able to learn from her once when she came here for reveal. Yeah. And I think that when I was able to take her class then, I was just like so like struck that she was even here, like, and I was able to learn from her. Like, because this was someone that I looked up to as just like an artist, a dancer, and everything. And like Loki, I got really nervous during her class, and I was just like, I didn't get it all the way through, but like it still felt good. And
did you feel your body or like your movement after that like open up? Like I feel like when you get in touch with one of your inspirations in even just a small way, any dancing after that just feels mad different. Like
because it's just something about like having their movement be put onto your own body. It's just like it kind of just like it really reformats like how like you move after that, because it's like, and I feel like that's with any teacher though, like any person that you come in contact with that you learn something from in dance, like it really just like always transforms. And like especially the ones that you look up to, especially. And yeah, like they have been, those two in particular have just been amazing influences, like not only for me, but I know on a lot of people in this dance scene. And they'll just continue to like, I know they'll continue to like prosper and do all of that. And I'm like,
they're two people who and it's not even just dance either. Like I haven't talked to Caitlin in a long time, so I'm not sure what like how her like the pinpoint of her mentality right now. It still feels like she's as much of a genuine artist as she's always been. But even back then, when I met her, 2017, 2018, she is a free spirit, and her movement looks like freedom. It's not like I remember asking her, I was like, how do you dance like that? Which is such a really interesting question to ask people. But I was like, how do you dance like that? And she was just like, I just do. And at the time I was like, why are you not giving me the secrets? But after kind of like going along my own journey, I'm realizing, I'm like, of course she doesn't know. This is just how her body moves. Like this is her. It is a reaction to her life experience, and it's going to change as per her experiences change. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't know how she's moving right now because it's changing the next moment. The next time she has something big happen, next time she meets one of her inspirations, next time, it's just changing and morphing to adapt to the new knowledge that's been input. Mm-hmm. Same thing for Marley. Marley can truly like go in a conversation because her mind just wanders as well and just wonders and is constantly just trying to think what's going on for real, what's going on with me and what's going on with people. And when you have that innate sense of curiosity, you automatically are looking at people in your class, okay, what's going on with you? And then you're seeing the way that they move, they're like, I see what's going on with you. Mm-hmm. I'll show you what's going on with me. And then she's been dancing for fucking forever. Marley's been famous since before. Before anyone really like before I even knew anything about this world. I think the first time like I came into it and WAD was like at its height, Marley was like their poster child. Mm-hmm.
And the crazy part is like I've definitely seen Marley perform. Yeah. Like her own like thing at WAD, mm-hmm. and like it never put two and two together that I'm just like, oh, that's Marley. Like, yeah. And even now, like, as I was able to get to know her a little bit more and, like, realize that she's just been doing this for so long and, like, how much, like, time and dedication that she's put into it. And, like, even as a child, she's already out in L.A. doing the thing. Yeah. Like,
and now I think how that ended up going forward was, like, I imagine a lot of her energy, it probably took a lot of her energy to manage her talent and that dedication just on herself. But now she has a certain comfortability with it where she's able to maintain the talent, maintain the discipline because she's still out here training, still out here teaching and everything. Owns a studio and a whole team. Motive is looking crisp and looking great, like as ever. And I think that's really the testament is like you can do it for yourself, but once you're able to transfer that to people, now you're really showing the fruits of your labor. Yes. Which is I think is also a thing that I feel like you have, where I'm gonna actually go find you guys. Send me the video of your story of all the people in that class in the reveal class later. Absolutely. But just seeing the way that people move with Jules in class is reminiscent as to same thing with Marley Caitlin, in that it just rings genuine. Like she doesn't have to actually say too much. They watch her move and they're like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I'm gonna move with you. And it's just like a testament to how long you've been here and all the hard work that you've been putting in, to be able to effectively communicate with people through your body and through your words. Yeah, so you're doing all the things. You're doing all the things. You're great. She's Miss Jules. She ain't got no rules.
Oh my god.
I don't want to take too much of your time, and this is getting to a crazy gig rate there. We'll just have to have you back on another time whenever you come back, or do something like virtual one day. But yeah, I just want to say I love you, dude. I love you. And you are the reason why I dance the way I do today. I only took Julie's classes really for the first few months that I was here, when I first moved here, and the openness with her movement was something that I wasn't necessarily accustomed to of my own. And the times that we spent laughing, sessioning, like going on trips and everything like that, it just contributes to the experience that fuels my own movement. So I'm just glad that you could be here today and be a part of this new venture that we have. Absolutely. And I'm glad people got to hear a little bit more about what you got going on. So yeah, well, thank you for being here.
Of course. And also, like, it's crazy because I remember when you first got here, and to like even now, like when you told me about the podcast, and I was just like, that's so great. I was like, that is so wonderful because I remember like you coming into the choreo and then you went into the freestyle and now I even remember when you started making Godfrey and then just like now it's curated into something so much more. And I'm like, you're about to make such a like I don't think you even understand how much like of a staple that you were about to put here on Chicago, and that you already are like really truly in each community that you have stepped in. So know that you have so much power and essence stepping into any room that you go into and anything that you put your mind to. And I'm just so proud of like everything that you have been able to accomplish here in Chicago. And it's just
Julie's trying to make me cry, and I don't cry.
He tried to make me cry earlier,
I don't cry. So, on that note, no, thank you. Yeah, I think I said it in the beginning, but free speech is here. It is a part of the bigger brand or the bigger platform, the bigger philosophy that Godfrey is, which is just peace by example. Just making sure that I'm walking in my most genuine self and having it like transfer off and inspire other people to be their most genuine selves. Whether people agree with you or not, it just really doesn't matter. It just matters if you can walk through life not having like that icky feeling. You know what I'm saying? That you're not being true to who you are. And ultimately, it's going to cause like controversy, like in that. When two people are very strong and their opinions may be opposing, it's going to be like a force hitting each other. But that's literally the point. None of us know what's going on here. We're still trying to figure it out. We probably won't figure it out in our lifetime, but this is I think the right step to actually just figuring out like how can we actually just be able to live with each other better. So I'm glad that I get to do this, that I have the privilege to be able to do this, the opportunities. I'm glad that I have good friends to be able to come on and talk about their lives and just their experience with somebody else is just able to take even a little nugget from it and try to make their own life fit more to what they want it to be. Yeah, I think that's a wrap on this one. Thank you again, pleasure. Julie. And yeah, like, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the account. Listen, share it with your friends. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell. Check out all the other content on there. I'll be tagging and posting Julie's Instagram. And are you on YouTube or anything?
Yes, I am on YouTube.
Instagram and YouTube's just to show you who she is. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode.